welcome to SDI SuperCars NZ. It's another night and another race at the Long Beach Street Racetrack. Greg, welcome.
Thank you very much, Dana. Long Beach in the shadow of Los Angeles, just out of California. A 3.167 kilometer track, predominantly used for IndyCar races these days. It'll be the V8 Supercars and SuperCars NZ's first foray onto the street circuit, and a heck of a circuit it is as well. Surrounded by walls, you cannot afford to get this one wrong. You'll be into the wall, and that will be your race over.
Yeah, no, definitely lots of wall rubbing in this race tonight. You can see a bit of panel damage, bit of liveries scraped up, and some action on our way as we head towards the grid.
It's a tough one as we jump in the car with Mike Robinson on the hot lap of the track as we head down through Bridgestone Bend on the start-finish straight. We make our way down to this first left-hander. It's a bumpy braking zone. You've got to use all the track on the right-hand side, drift it in, use a little bit of the curb, and then into Toyota, into this twisty complex with the picturesque roundabout in the middle. Using the road on the left-hand side, you're going to smash that curb on the right, drift it out, being careful not to get sucked in by that wall. You can use all the curbs on the right-hand side as you get back onto the gas, make your way across to the right-hand side of the track, and we get into this left-hander. This next section of road's really tough. You've got to make your way back over to the left-hand side of the road. It gets very bumpy as you switch from second to third gear in the middle. Drift it in. The wall comes out at you at a bit of an angle here, so back onto the straight, and then down towards the very twisty complex at the end. Firestone turn. As you head round to the right, into Indy left. It's just a short shoot through. Second gear, just feathering the throttle on the way in. And then into the Long Beach infamous hairpin. Hard getting a supercar through here in first gear, and even harder to try and get traction down as you get back onto the start-finish straight. You'll see many cars come a cropper at that point of road tonight.
Excellent lap there by Robinson, fastest lap of the race. So as we head towards our starting grid, we've got 31 cars tonight. See if we can fit them around the first corner.
On the first row of the grid, we've got James Anderson, followed by Mike Robinson, who is obviously pretty rapid around here.
Third, Stolberg, and fourth, Hederscheid.
Third row of the grid sees Van Rensburg and Ricky Royer, who'll be backing up his performance from last week.
Got Kevin Weston, 7th, and Aidan Lamont in 8th.
Hederscheid in 9th, and Greg Scully in 10th.
Nice. Panic. Bruce in 11th and Greenhawk in 12th.
Ash in 13th, and behind him Braden O'Loughlin for Frog Leap Racing.
Brown in 15th and Bakey following 16th.
17th we've got Van Biljon, followed by Tony Lynch in the 18th position.
19th Swinney and 20th yours truly Jury.
In 21st we've got Lee Childs in the SuperCars NZ car, and Gill.
23rd Freeman, 24th Darren, SDI.
25th position Whiteman, 26th Wayne Bloor,
27th Smith, 28th McLeod.
29th Kilgour, 30th position sees James Isherwood, and Needler rounding out the top 31.
Nice. All about to head into the action. Up on the grid, engines are up. And we'll go.
Green light as they gear off down the straight towards this first braking zone. Everyone looks to have got off the line nice and cleanly, which is great to see. There'll be nerves coming into this first bumpy braking zone.
It's definitely a bit of a tight section, especially before these cars coming through. 31 cars heading in. Oh, they approach the corner. There's contact with Lamont. Kevin West.
Oh, there's a bit of a traffic jam going on here. So hard to get these cars through such a twisty piece of track.
Oh, Bloor
Wayne Bloor's gone round. And that's it. The track is closed.
James Anderson leads the group through. Robinson not far off behind. Got Stolford in third.
Anderson and Stolford resuming hostilities on this track. Both extremely quick. Stolford right behind them. No Darren Lobb or Stevens this week. They've elected to sit this round out. But these guys are going to give us a show.
Here we go with our timing grid. So we've got Anderson leading through.
Into the hairpin for the first time. You can see just how tricky it is to get these cars through to the top. And off down the start-finish straight. That'll be the end of our first lap, and a hairy first lap it was.
Mike Robinson giving Anderson a bit of a nudge around that hairpin. Definitely a super tight corner. If you're not careful, you could probably launch your vehicle into the air. Jamie Stolford back in third.
Yep. Making their way into Toyota for the second time. You can see them weaving through, trying to straight line that roundabout as much as they can and get the power back down as they head into this next right-hander.
Daniel Hederscheid in fourth, following 1, 2 and 3. Reinsberg following that fifth.
It's a great start from Willem. I love the red wheels on that car, that looks fantastic. And Ricky Royer had a disappointing end to Monza. Wasn't his best race, so he's looking to come back strong here at Long Beach in round 8.
Yeah, definitely a driver with some kind of hidden pace in some ways. Not so hidden if you've seen him driving, but just during the races, not showing his true self. So good to see him up the front. Greg Scully in 7th.
Yeah, I think we're going to come unstuck from 7th position. I can tell you now that there was a penalty handed out for that contact at the on the first lap at the roundabout there. So I'll be peeling off to complete that penalty. And apologies to Lamont, who unfortunately got turned.
Yeah, we just saw a bit of action in that first lap. Bit of cars in the corner section there, same section as what we're viewing. But it's all cleaned up now. The track is clear, racing's on, and Anderson leads by nearly half a second over Robinson. Stolford not far behind.
Still super close up front as well. On a course like this, it's so hard to get a breakaway, but mistakes are going to come, and it's a case of just hanging in there and doing it as tough as you can, and just waiting and hoping that the guy in front of you makes a mistake. As you head through this right-hander, it's easy to get sucked into the wall on the left-hand side, and then you've got a nice straight. You've got to carry a lot of speed through there as you head back down towards this tricky final complex. Using the curb on the right-hand side, these supercars just suck that up, eat it for breakfast, so no issues there. In second gear, down to first gear as you try and manoeuvre the car through this way. You can see full lock to try and get the car around, and then hard on the gas back down the start finish straight. It is a great course.
These cars are just absolutely flying through the stuff.
You can see 119s up front. That's some pretty rapid race pace there.
Using all the curves coming through. Front groups super close together, nothing in it.
Throw a blanket over those first 4 cars. This is awesome to watch. No incidents up front. Looks like Scott Gill's taking a little bit of contact to the front left of the Mustang there. Dyson Freeman in his first race here at NZ Supercars. Great to see some new entrants. Leith Swinney in the Generation X car, sporting some battle scars down the side of there. And Nick Bakey, he's gone maximum aero on the K&M Mustang.
Yeah, Steve Durran up ahead, and Blake Greenhold, a bit of a challenge there.
See the car struggling to get it stopped here.
Passing Braden.
This track is torture on the tyres. It's just so easy to get wheel spin and light those things up. As we've spoken about previously, once these tyres get hot, it makes it a very difficult proposition to get this car around 3.167 kilometres of just walls. Everywhere you look is walls here.
Yep. Lance Childs and Peter Brown following Simon Hederscheid in 10th.
He's trying to get back onto the back of the 2 Megan Turbo cars up ahead of him there. James Anderson Stolford having a look down the inside. He's made a move on Mike Robinson. Mike's not giving it up though. That's super close as they come through. And Robinson runs it wide. Oh, so easy to make contact here. It's just such a tight track. It's
Stole
very
back
difficult
through.
to pass
Oh,
on. Oh,
Mike scrapes the wall hard.
yeah. Somehow kept the mirror on that car. He won't be worried about that too much.
Jamie takes over the challenge there with in on Mike's roof, following Jamie Stolwood through.
Mike's been super quick around here in practice, and you can see that form translating to the race tonight. So he's 2 seconds behind Anderson at this stage, but he won't be too worried about that. He's got Stolwood firmly in his sights, and the Robinson electrical car looking very sharp. Oh, just getting a little bit sideways there. You see he's closed the gap right up onto the back of Jamie as they head for the start-finish straight. Is he going to make a pass into the first corner? It's a bumpy braking zone. You'd be a brave man.
Just heading back
Dana
to the
Jury
back of the
at the
group.
back.
That's me. I got absolutely
Come a
tangled
cropper.
up in the first 10 seconds. Ended up in the pits, unfortunately. But we've got Wayne Van Bill John in 28th.
Car's looking nice and straight. That's all he'll be thinking about at this stage, how to make some progress up. You can just about guarantee that some cars are coming a cropper. I've just come out of the pits in 27th there after serving a penalty. I'll take that on the chin. We'll wear that.
Craig Whiteman in 26th. Bloor up in 25th. Missing a bit of scraping.
Missing a fair bit there, isn't he? Kevin West, unfortunately, yeah, he was turned in the in that first lap crash as well, so he's battling it out.
Aidan Lamont continuing on. Rowan Smith up in 21st.
Great profile pick there, Rowan. Good effort. James Isherwood, good to see him in 20th position.
Yep, looks like he's just having a little bit of struggles around some of the corners there. So we've got William Reinsberg following the lead group. Daniel Hedershy not too far in front.
See just how many of these cars are sporting battle damage. It's just so hard to get these cars around this track at pace without collecting the wall at some point in time. On the bright side, if you hit it dead side on, hopefully you're not going to do too much damage other than a bit of scraping down the side. These guys looking racy up the front, using every bit of road, getting right out, you can see.
Yeah, it's really good.
Anderson just started to put a gap on. Yeah, Anderson started to put a gap on Stolwood here. So he's just out to beyond the second, with Mike Robinson a second behind him. So field's starting to stretch out a wee bit here. It's giving him a little bit of breathing room to run his own race.
You see all the bumps of the street circuit. It's not a nice, smooth racetrack. It is a street.
Been around for a long time, Long Beach. 1975 was the first race here. It was a Formula 5000 race. New Zealand's own Chris Amon from Bulls finished 4th in that race, so great to have some Kiwi connections representing it back in the day when this course was first conceived. Dyson Freeman still looking smooth, still looking clean. Oh, we see a car hit the wall at the back there. That looked like Scott McLeod, yeah. Shane McLeod, excuse me. So Gill coming under some pressure here from Freeman. Back in the pack, Nick Bakey still circulating. There's a little bit of a cluster of cars behind Steve Darren there. So they'll be eyeing him up. He'll be feeling the nerves there as he makes his way down to the first turn. Hard on the brakes as they come into this first complex. Leaf looking pretty menacing there, so he's looking to get a move done on Steve Darren. Blake Greenhold in the Bridgestone Mustang. Car's looking good. He's circulating cleanly. 13th position, a good result. 12th, Tony Lynch in the Harcourt's Mustang. Lance Childs up in 11th. Great to see a good performance from him with Pete Brown up in front of him. He'll be eyeing him up and just hoping he can get onto the back and make his way past him. just leapfrog his way into the top 10 there. It's a great view of this hairpin. Such a tough corner in these cars. I don't know how they do it in an IndyCar with no power steering, Dana. That's almost beyond conceivable.
Yeah, there's some interesting grips on the wheel, no doubt. So flying along the straight, you can see the cars just hug that line. Now they can't go across it. That is the pit exit line. You will get a penalty if you come too far to the right.
Yeah, it's a great point.
It's just hugging that line really super tight. You get a good line through the left-hand corner.
Really important to remember that as you're coming out of the pits as well. It's very easy to creep across to the left and cut that pit exit line and pick yourself up a penalty, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
That's race over right there.
Yeah,
Bruce Tannock looking nice and clean there. Yeah, 7th position. He's got his teammate David Nasher behind him. Two mega turbo cars looking nice and clean, circulating well. Simon Hederscheid coming up in the fully floored, holding it behind them.
One side looks good, one side...
The two-faced car. It's still James Anderson out in front. He's still got a second gap over Jamie Stolvin, who hasn't given up the fight. These guys just holding position at the moment. Doing some nice clean laps as we're a third of the way through this race. You've got to be so patient coming through that roundabout section there.
Yeah, so lap 10 of 30 laps tonight. About 12-13 minutes into the race.
Still see plenty of cars within that shot there, so it's still a very tightly bunched field on this tight and twisty track. Tongue twister for you. You can see just how close these cars are getting to the wall on the way out of that corner. Trying to maximise every bit of road to get maximum terminal velocity coming down this straight. Then hard on the brakes as they come into this tricky complex in the air. Just a lock up.
Super close up. Push Anderson to the side.
Yeah, Anderson locking a brake there. Stolberg hard under brakes as well, almost locked a brake himself. Just a small touch. Stolberg's got past him.
He's flashing his lights.
He's flashing his light. Press opportunity on here. Yeah, Jamie's let him back through. So that's great driving, good sportsmanship from these guys. Just a bit of a touch in that last corner as they head onto the start-finish straight. And Jamie's redressed that position, so excellent racing from these top guys. You'd expect nothing less.
Such a tight right up the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, we're coming to expect this. Coming to expect this at SuperCars NZ. Always tight, tough, and ready racing. So it's awesome to see. This track looks an absolute peach. Look at all the road markings as we've come to expect from a street circuit like this. Takes me back to the Wellington street race days, Dana.
I'd love some New Zealand tracks on iRacing.
Daniel Hederscheid sitting back in 4th position. He's right on the back of Robinson now. So he's up into this battle. William van Rensburg sitting there as well. If anything, these cars seem to be getting closer together, not further apart. So awesome to see these battles.
So this week's sponsor is K&N Spray Painting. They're in Cambridge, 15 Albert Street. They deliver high level of service in all areas of panel and paintwork of your car, caravan, truck, heavy machinery. Taronga, Cambridge and Waikato. Friendly service, free quotes, great rates, and quality and efficiency guaranteed. Sounds pretty good to me. So if you're in the area, give the guys a call. Check them out on Facebook, K&N Spray Painting.
Nick Bakey, one of the original members of SuperCars NZ, so great to see his business in lights there. These guys are going at it. I heard some contact a few corners ago, and Jamie Stolvin and Mike Robinson right in the heat of battle. Mike Robinson pulling across in front of Jamie, and off down the straight here. So a small change of position. Mike Robinson now 17th back from James Anderson, looking to get onto the back of him, see if he can make up another position, get himself on the top 10 of the group.
And it's super close up the front. Even Ricky's not too far off the main group.
He's closing the gap there, so he's trying to get back there. Keep an eye on that. Very, very quick through Long Beach here.
A little bit of scrape showing on Anderson's vehicle, just showing you how relentless these edges of the track are.
We've seen some big changes off the back of pit strategy in the last 2 rounds. I wonder what we'll see here tonight, Dana, that we start to think about when they make the compulsory pit stop. Obviously need to take on a little bit of fuel here at Long Beach as well.
Oh, there's me avoiding a bit of a...
Oh no, there's big damage in the background there. So is that Wayne? Wayne Bloor, Carl Needler, car's still looking straight, he'll be happy about that. He's coming up in the rocket cloud. And Fredo Lockley racing car.
Yeah, Lachlan there in the Frog League racing team. One of half a dozen or so team. Just them representing tonight.
Absolutely.
Wayne still battling along up in 24th.
Some of these cars looking a little cleaner than they were a few laps ago, so we've obviously seen a few pit stops. You can see on the timing on the left-hand side, Jamie Stolbert's pulled in pit lane now. So as these this front pack starts to pit, we can see whether we see any changes for position and amongst that.
Craig Whiteman.
Ricky benefiting out of some of those early pit stops, making his way up to 5th position. So he'll have his head down, trying to get through his quicker laps.
There's Jamie Stolbert coming out.
Yep.
Flashing his lights, pretty keen to get past.
Marker in front of him there, so he's going to struggle to get through here.
Finds his way through.
Very gracious. Good to see these guys respecting some of the guys that are up the front there, turning these quick laps, but up the front it's still James Anderson. He's still got Mike Robinson hard on his heels. You can see the car re-entering the track on the right-hand side, just coming out of pit lane as these guys make their way through turn 1 and into turn 2.
Yeah, not the easiest track to find a passing area.
No. There's an opportunity here if they can get out of this corner well, get the traction down heading up into the next corner, but Mike's just a little far back at this stage, so he'll be looking to bridge that gap, perhaps make his move as they get back to the start-finish straight. But these cars will be thinking about pit stops now as well, so we might see that eventuate at the end of this lap. Halfway through the race now, seems like a logical time to take on a fresh set of boots and some fuel.
Definitely, like we say every week, good old pit stop strategies coming into play. And we're going to see them in the next 5 laps or so. Anderson obviously due to pit, so is Robertson, Shy, Rensburg. Got Stolberg
these guys coming up
now, but he's already
these guys
pitted.
Coming up behind some lap traffic now as well, which makes things difficult. As you say, very hard track to pass on. And so these guys have got to be watching their relatives, looking in the mirrors and seeing these guys come roaring up behind them. And hopefully we don't see any tangles up with any back markers. Very easy to get into the back of a slower car here. You're so unsighted through so many of these corners.
Anderson making some long sweeping lines, trying to sort of cover his bases on Mike getting the inside line. does it out of all of these corners. Just a bit too much throttle.
There's a couple of lines through this next section. Over the right hand side you can see the cars as they drift out right there. There's a big hump in the middle of the road and it really unsettles the car in second or third gear depending on what you go through there. And if you can get over to the left, perhaps fractionally slower, but it's a lot safer. So you're going to see a couple of different lines through that portion of track. It's an interesting proposition.
Yeah. I totally agree there. It's definitely a couple of sort of different lines to choose.
Yeah. Leith Swinny still coming up strong. He's in behind Kevin West at the moment, who was tangled up in that first lap incident.
Yeah, looks
car's
like
looking nice and straight now.
Sorted out his panel work.
Yeah. Mustang
SuperCars.
looking resplendent in the kilowatt tuning livery.
Same with Nick Bakey. He's taken all advantage of that pit and his car's streaming on down the straight.
Steve Darren in the SDI car. As always, we really appreciate Steve's support when it comes to SDI SuperCars NZ, and it's great to see him circulating in the top half of the field. So well done, Steve.
Looks like he's having a good safe night, staying off the concrete mix. Lake Greenhook in 13th.
Very much a war of attrition, a street track like this, as you know, Dana. Unfortunately, both you and I learned the hard way in this particular race that if you get into another car or get into the wall here, it's a long way back.
Yeah, definitely.
Tony Lynch just locking a brake, heading into the hairpin. Lance Childs getting off down the start-finish straight. It's a strong performance from him, up in 11th position. See Peter Brown just coming out of the pits here. This is what we were talking about earlier. He's got to go a long way around the outside. And he's just tucked in behind Childs there. So pit stop completed from Peter Brown. He'll have his eyes on and just focusing on trying to get back up into that top 10 now. It's a great livery on that car as well. Great to see so many of the competitors just breaking out some really creative liveries on these supercars. It's a sight to behold.
Yeah, and if anyone's wondering, there's definitely a few SuperCars NZ default liveries on a few of these cars. That's just for the drivers that haven't sent in their own customised paintwork. Always keen to see some customised paintwork, but for now we'll just chuck on our SuperCars NZ banners here and there. So if you're
and there's some really creative guys, right? So if there's anyone out there who specialises in liveries, is keen to get involved and see some of their work on these cars, then we'd love to hear from you. So make contact with us. There's a bunch of drivers who would love to rework their liveries, and there's definitely an opportunity there.
Yeah, totally agree.
James Anderson, our effective leader of the race, with Rensburg still yet to pit. Dan Hedderscheid up behind him, so Mike Robinson's dropped back through that series of pit stops, and he's got Stolvard right on the back, hot on his heels.
So Rensburg into the pit lane now as we speak. Cloud pulling over for Anderson. Hedderscheid not too far behind. What we'll
These
see
guys
in the
chirping.
next 11 laps.
These guys are chirping brakes, hard on the brakes. You seem to either be flat on the accelerator or flat on the brake here. There's no in between. Steven Rensburg's taken his pit now, so that'll free up Anderson at the front of this field. James Anderson flashing his lights as he comes up behind the lap car there, desperate to get past. There's not a lot of gap between him and Daniel Hedderscheid, and Mike Robinson and Jamie Stolbert sitting just up behind him as well. These cars back into the 19s now as they've got fresh tyres on. It's been a nice clean race so far, I have to say. We've obviously had some ding-dong battles in the last couple of rounds, but I guess with this tight twisty nature of this circuit, guys not prepared. It's a risk versus reward here. Guys not prepared to put on too bold a move, otherwise you'd come unstuck very easily.
Yeah, plenty of lap traffic, but fantastic etiquette from the drivers, pulling over, letting people through.
these guys doing a great job of navigating them as well.
Heddershide a couple of seconds off Anderson. Robinson 6 seconds off. Stolbert not too far off. So Robinson and Stolbert together. See what happens there. It's a podium place and stake.
Anderson seemed to be taking good advantage of the second stanza in this race. Just stretching the gap a little bit on Heddershide here. Just giving him a little bit of breathing room. It's important to have because it's easy to pinch a brake or just graze a wall, which slows the car up. So nice to have a little bit of breathing room. See the front of that fully floored Commodore is just out of whack a wee bit. So as is often the case here at Long Beach, he's just touched a wall. It's just put that car slightly out of kilter. Hopefully his steering isn't bent. Jamie Stolbert sporting some battle scars on the front of the track racer Mustang.
See Ricky there back in 5th.
He'll be eyeing up Stolbert here. And he's obviously got Rensburg in front of him as well. So it's a battle to watch, this one. Yeah, say if these cars were regulars at a place like this, the old local panel shops would be getting an absolute boom to their business. See every car sporting some bends, bumps and scrapes in some manner or form.
K&E and spray painting would be busy.
They would indeed. Yeah, there you go, Nick. Oh, he's here. Jamie, I think, just clipped that wall on the outside on the way through the hairpin there. Riding on board now with Ricky Roy, a great performance from him. He'll be stoked with this. Massively disappointed after Monza. But an extremely strong performance here at Long Beach. You see a move being done. Rensburg looking to go around the outside of Stolbert. Stolbert shuts the gate. Ricky sitting back watching this unfold, hoping that it might present an opportunity for himself. He's closed right up onto the back of Rensburg here. These guys just getting so close to the walls. You're going to have great spatial awareness here. You can see some of the scrapes and bumps on the exited corners on the walls sporting some scars there. Happy just to sit in behind these two at this stage, and there's still 9 laps to go in this race. Dana Jerry coming up behind one of the SuperCars NZ cars. Recovered nicely there, Dana, up in the 27th spot.
Yeah, just continuing my race along.
So you're going to get a move done here. Yep. Clean lines, good stuff, man. See just how close you've got to get to those walls. On board with Carl Needler now. Carl down in 26th position. Great to see him still circulating. I think Carl's looking really good as well. Braden O'Loughlin in 25th. So the car's just settled into, feels like a bit of a lull in this race. Cars are separated. I'm thinking about conservation, not so much of fuel and tyres, but probably just of the car. James Isherwood sort of seems to have slowed down a little bit coming out of the effort there. So that contact.
Yeah, just a bit of the good solid. Everyone's just trying to keep off the walls, kind of race pace. A couple of seconds between Heddershide and Anderson, Stolbert and Rensburg.
Oh, that's a spin for Rowan Smith. He's a tricky part of the course here as well. Cars will be coming through there unsighted. Oh, that's the risk on a street course like that. It's so easy to come around a corner. There's so many 90-degree corners here. Come around and there's a car that's looped it. It's just sitting in the middle of the track. And it's not their fault. There's nowhere they can go. But it's one of the real challenges that you face in a tight twisted track like this.
You see there, Rensburg and Stolbert.
Yep.
Stolbert be keen to keep third at least. Rensburg up on the inside. Side by side. Ooh. Rensburg just easing off.
Brave driving here, so hard to get that move done. Out in front, James Anderson, he's still got a second over Dan Hedderscheid. Hedderscheid made up a bit of the gap there, so he was 2 seconds back. He's halved that deficit. He's starting to eye up a move on Anderson in the closing stages of this race.
Yeah, noticing Hedderscheid showing really good pace in the last couple of championship rounds.
Still Anderson out front in the NZ Books Racing Mustang. He's kept it clean, and as we said, that's half the challenge. It's more than half the challenge at a course like this. So he's circulating, getting good lap times in, weaving his way through lap traffic who've been kind to him, thankfully, and putting on a great performance. So great to see him up in front of the field there. Kevin West recovering.
Yep. 15th, following Nick Bakey.
He's got some pace, West, so these guys are going to come under attack. We get to the last half a dozen laps here. The decision for them to make whether they're going to defend. Oh, this is a great right up front here. Dolvin, Rensburg, Royer, Robinson, all the shot of each other.
Just waiting for one of them to make a mistake.
One of the back markers getting really loose. On the way out of that corner, luckily it didn't cause any issues there. Aaron still looking nice and clean in that SDI Commodore.
Ooh!
Oh, I say that, you put it on the wall, that's the commentator's boots right there. It's just dropped it back a couple of spots. There we go. Sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to do that to you, buddy. The battle is still very much on for third position here, so these guys fighting it out for that last position on the podium.
Rensburg just sucking him right up. Stolford trying to block.
Yep.
Oh, there's a bit of contact. Stolford wide. Rensburg again.
Yeah,
Let Stolford through.
That's Matt Stevens' style there. We've seen him do that so well over the last couple of weeks. That strong defending. Rensburg got a nose up the inside, but the door was shut pretty quickly. Contact between those two. Luckily, no big damage and no loss of control, but it's battle stations resumed for these guys, with Ricky and Mike Robinson sitting in behind him, making up this battle pack of 4 cars for third position, all vying in the last 5 laps of this race to try and get on the last step of the podium. So we'll keep abreast of this battle. Great spot.
Yeah, lap 25 of 30 laps, 34 minutes into the race. SDI Supercars Long Beach, round 8. Another 4 rounds to finish off the championship. And it's definitely a close battle up the front. Who knows who will take Season 1 2021 championship out this year.
Season 1 always a tough one. Holidays, various other bits and pieces. So 4 drop rounds available to the drivers in this season, which means that the likes of Lob and Stovall, who we've seen, Lob and Stevens, who we've seen perform really strongly over the last few weeks, penalised too much from this, but these guys up front will be looking to take advantage of that opportunity and pick themselves up a good finishing position here at Long Beach.
Stolford, Rensburg, Roa, Robertson.
These guys will be starting to sweat. 4 laps to go. We're almost 3 laps to go. Too many mistakes happening. Hero's obviously not too badly impacted from that stoved in front splitter.
Don't think too many cars without scrapes here and there around this track.
Yeah, brutal, isn't it? Ricky Royer just dropping back a little bit from Rensburg here. I think he made a little mistake coming out of the air, but just left the wall on the left-hand side. That's opened up a little bit of a gap. Mike Robinson sitting right on his tail, looking for a way through.
Oh, Sparks flying.
That's how hard these guys are pushing to the end of this race here. Championship defining lap, these ones.
Noticed Heddershaw just closing the gap on Anderson up the front.
Oh.
A little bit messy there.
Just bouncing off the wall. Great to see these cars in the street circuit. We see it so often in the Australian Supercars series, flattering around the streets, be it Gold Coast or wherever they might turn up. So it's great to see them lashing out on some of the tight. Go on to the start-finish straight. Lap 28. There's not long left to go in this race, but the battle rages on.
Yeah, Stolbert and Rensburg.
Yep.
Lap 28 of 30. Couple more laps to go. Will we see changes? At the moment, Anderson in first, Hedderscheid in second, Stolbert third. Rensburg has Stolbert in the sights. Rower patiently behind. Robinson not too far off him.
So James Anderson's a pioneer here, making his way through in first position. See him cutting that first head, but making his way through in first position. So he's going to be hindering his progression. That's closing it right up. So second now of Anderson. We get into these closing stages. So Anderson will be hoping for some clear track here, or some kind overtaking. Nothing worse than coming across lap traffic through the tight twisties here. You'd much rather see them on a straight part of the track. So lap traffic could be a real championship decider here in this round eight class.
But Hedderscheid looking for the gap over Anderson. Half a second in it. He's right there with him. Couple laps to go. Are we going to see the push at the end?
Oh, both cars getting just so close to those walls. Meanwhile, back, the battle for third isn't over. Rensburg's made a couple of moves on Stolbert in the last few laps. Just dropped back. He's at risk now of Ricky Royer overtaking him. This thing's far from decided. Back in the field, you've got Peter Brown in 10th position. He's eyeing up 9th there. Lance Childs under attack. David Nash sitting in 8th spot. Simon Hedderscheid, the other fully floored Commodore, in 7th. Back to Mike Robinson, head of this battle. Ricky Royer and Rensburg desperate to get onto that third place podium. Taking another look down the inside of Stolbert. But up the front, it's still Daniel Hedderscheid, hot on the heels of James Anderson, who's led this race right from the early stages, doing a fantastic job out front.
So Hedderscheid, only a few more corners to go before the end. Does he have it in him? Will Anderson make a mistake?
Into this last set of corners, tight twisties, super easy to make a mistake. You wouldn't want to do it on the last lap.
And that last hairpin, he closes up the gap a little bit.
This is really his last chance to get it done. He's not close enough. Oh, he flows right up onto the back, but Anderson's made it through cleanly. Hederscheid just running wide a little bit. And it's going to be James Anderson as he makes his way down towards the start finish line.
So Anderson, Long Beach, round 8, takes the win over Hederscheid in second. Stolberg in third. Soon. So the second group, 18, 19 seconds off the two top front. There he goes, Stolberg.
Done a fantastic job of holding out a raging Van Rensburg in behind him. Van Rensburg doesn't quite have enough. He's going to have to settle for 4th position. Ricky Royer with a very respectable 5th. Great race from him. And Mike Robertson
6th. Hederscheid 7th.
David Nash and the Megan Turbo car at 8th. Lance Childs at 9th. Peter Brown rounding up the top 10. So a fantastic performance from all of our drivers here. Round 8 at Long Beach for SuperCars NZ. Great race there, Dana.
Yeah, no, some fantastic racing. The front eyes 5, 6 all nicely bunched up there for most of the race. Just a bit of a split off at the end between Anderson and Hederscheid.
Really a war of attrition here at a tight, twisty beach track like this. At the same time, next week, round 9, we head off to whereabouts? Where are we going next week, Dana?
Barber
Motorsport Park, complete polar opposite to Long Beach. Lots of undulation, wide, long, curving corners. So we'll see a very different type of battling. We'll see a few of our championship contenders back next week as well. We'll likely see Rob and Stevens back into the fray as they resume hostilities with this front pack. But as always, SuperCars NZ, very proud to be able to bring you fantastic racing from these top New Zealand drivers.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, and it just gets better week to week there, Greg, nearly a year into it. Let's see
coming up to our first anniversary.
Yeah.
Good stuff. As always, if you're keen to get into virtual racing, look up SuperCars NZ on Facebook. You'll find us there. It's open to drivers of all abilities, so get involved, make yourself known. We've got races happening every night of the week. It'd be great to see you there.
Awesome. Cheers, Greg. See you next
Cheers,
week.
Dana.